Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're at. EXP Agents. I'm Wilson Solomon. I'm your customer success manager for EXP here at Lofty. I have John Heckle joining me today. He's one of our senior onboarding specialists, one of our product experts at Lofty. Have him joining me today as we'll be getting into lead pipeline management within Lofty, all things associated with that with regards to how to manage your leads, how to manage the pipeline, and features around that particular segment of our platform. So really excited for those that are going to be joining us. We'll be taking questions in through EXP World as well as YouTube, and we'll just John, as usual, you join me for a few of these trainings. I'll turn my camera off, mic off while you're presenting. And then if there's some questions and things that come up that we want to jump into, I'll pop my camera back on. Feel free to stop at any point as well if you just want to check in on some questions too. So
Sounds good. Well, it's great to be here, everybody. Of course, send questions to the chat as we go. I want this to be as question-based as possible. Really, the great thing about doing these live trainings is being able to stop and make sure we're all on the same page. If you've got a question, right, probably a lot of people have questions. Today, we're going to be going through lead pipeline management. Really, but this has three phases: making sure your leads are getting into the system correctly, making sure you're organizing them correctly. And why do we organize them correctly? So that we can reach out to them in the correct ways, right? Whenever we're going to send out a mass email, if we know who are our hot leads, who are our people that we met here, who are people that we met there, who came in through this avenue, who came in through that avenue, then we can start to gear our outreach specifically to that group, which is going to make it a whole lot more impactful, get more engagement, and in turn convert more leads. Because of that, we need to make sure those other two steps are on point. Having the leads come into the system correctly, which is a little bit of the tech side, but also showing you a lot of the cool options we have at Lofty. Then number two is the organization, which is really where we're going to focus most of our efforts today. How to organize leads, all the options that we have. And then number three is going to be, all right, now we have them coming in and organized. How do we reach out to them? What are the options that we have there? So let's go ahead and start off with phase one, right? Whenever I'm getting leads into Lofty, how are they coming in? How do I make sure they're coming in correctly? So the biggest thing, and really a really cool feature of Lofty, is that whenever I hook up my email into the system, right? I just go in, integrate my Gmail account, and I come up here and I click email. I'm going to have my normal Gmail account showing up here as my email. I can send emails through it, through Lofty, which is great. The other benefit of integrating an email into Lofty is all of your leads are going to come in right away, come in as we go. So it makes it super easy to have like constant lead funnels. As long as those leads are making it into your email, they're going to be making it into the system. Now, whenever a lead comes through via your email, it's going to have a specific source. So I'm going to come over here into our columns, and I'm going to actually reorganize them so we can see our registration and move it up so we can see it right next to the leads. So for instance, Kelly Moya, she came in 5 days ago from a source of Avena website, through a source of CSV import, through a source of booking calendar, through a source of, you get the idea, right? That's how leads are coming in. They're coming in, they're going to be labeled as different sources. And if you get an email from realtor.com, that lead will come in and the source will be realtor.com. Okay. Now, if we want to customize that, if we want to explore other avenues, we can go into our settings, and under our settings, we're going to be looking at the lead capture portions. Okay. So we're going to go into personal and then lead capture. So this is sort of our little dashboard where we can set up all of our integrations into the system. If I am getting lots of leads via Zillow or Realtor.com, our system actually offers really great, more nuanced, more elegant integrations than just that email one. But a lot of people just stick with the email integration because it gets them all the info they need. But for instance, let's say that I also do work within Zillow and I want those two things to talk to one another. As you can see, we have a two-way connect right up here. So I can use the two-way connect to have my Zillow talk to my Lofty and my Lofty talk to my Zillow. Then I also have follow-up boss right here, stuff like that, right? Having follow-up boss connect, realtor.com connect, Facebook connect. Those are going to be more advanced connections to have as much data as possible come over. But again, I would say probably 90% of the people that I work with, helping them set up their Lofty accounts, they're just going to stick with having the emails come through to their email and having their email integrated into Lofty and having those emails shoot in, right? And that's totally fine. Now we do have another option, which is, let's say that, hey, John, I don't want all these new lead emails hitting my inbox. I can actually use our lead email parsing email address. We create each account a unique email parsing email address to allow you to have that same process happen without it cluttering your actual inbox. All right. So feel free to use this whenever you need. We also have instructions on setting up the integrations for all of these different ones. So if I come in here to realty.com, I'm going to have, hey, this is how you set up your integration for them. And for each of these, we're going to have different articles about where you can click on and go into. Also coming up here to lead capture settings. Let's say that I am getting emails to my Gmail about OpCity or from realtor.com or whatever source, right? And I want to turn that off. Really easy. All I have to do is search it up, turn off the auto import. I can also change the name of the source. Okay, I can add new sources, change the name. So all of this is customizable. I know this is more of the tech side, right? Getting those leads into the system. But it's important to show you that Lofty has a lot of really cool workarounds to make sure no matter what your situation is, we're getting leads into the system, making sure some leads don't get into the system, making sure they're labeled exactly the way you want them labeled. So there's tons of different customizations that you can build out within your Lofty account to make sure everything is coming through correctly. Okay. Additionally, let's talk about whenever I have a marketing effort, let's say through a landing page as an example, how am I making sure that those people are getting into my system and are labeled correctly? So let's say that I want to feature a listing and advertise it. I can come up here to click feature a listing, create a landing page that looks something like this. And this landing page is actually a listing in San Diego. If we come over here to this settings button over here, we can have it set up where everybody that comes in through this landing page and signs up gets their own specific tag right here. For instance, Vince Away is the tag for this landing page because that's what this address is. Now, why would we want to do this? Whenever a lead comes in through a specific source like realtor.com, Zillow, that's usually a really nice and easy way to differentiate, okay, that's where this lead came from, right? Then from there, we can use that source field within Lofty where it tells us the source to organize our leads into the right pipelines, into the right sections of our CRM. Well, with landing pages, we can do that through tags. We can say, all right, whenever a lead comes in, tag them with this. Then we can set up, which I'm about to show you here in a second, different smart plans, automations, filters that are then going to grab those leads and put them in the right spots as well. Okay. So with landing pages, with anything in Lofty, what we want to do is just make sure we've got a tag, we've got a source, we've got something that separates them from the group and that we know how to find them later. Okay. Now let's go ahead and go over here into our people tab. Before we talk about how to organize everybody into the correct sections via those sources, via those tags, let's talk about all the options that Lofty has in order to organize leads. Okay. So really, we've got three main ways, really four. So I'll talk about all four, but the three that you're going to see whenever you log in, three main ways to organize leads. We've got our segment list, which is if I hover over my people tab, I see segments. I can go into people. And then I see my views right here across the middle. And I've got my pipelines. My pipelines are right here across the bottom. All of those three can be used in different ways. And I'll show you some use cases or explain some use cases for each. Segments, my analogy for this is always, if we're talking about Lofty or any CRM as a filing cabinet of leads where you're like, okay, how do I find this lead? You know, there's different ways to organize the filing cabinet. A segment would be a whole different drawer. Something where I'm like, yeah, I want to see visually all of my blank leads as a separate drawer whenever I look at my filing cabinet. That would be something that would be a great candidate to be a segment. Now, with all of these ways to organize your leads, they can be used interchangeably in a lot of ways. It's really just your preference. And that's great because that means that you can do exactly what works for you. If you're more of a visual person, a visual learner, somebody who wants to see, all right, here are my buyers, here are my sellers, here are my this, here are my that, in different segments, this segment list is a great way for you to do it. But if that's not your jam, we've got other options for you. The only things that I would highlight for segments that are unique to segments, right, that can't be replaced with something else is, for instance, whenever I'm looking at my groups like this, I can just come right here and click, boom, smart plan. Smart plans are drip campaigns. They are all of our automations. You can come in here and click boom, send this out to them, click start, and everybody's going to get that smart plan without even having to look at the leads. Okay. In the same way, we can come over here and send letters, set reminders, edit, pin them to the top, delete the segments, send out mass emails instead of smart plans, come in here and send postcards. Lots of cool features that are just right there at your fingertips. If we come in here and we click on the individual segment, and now we're inside of the segment, we've got our list of leads. We've got our automation menu where we can see which smart plans have been applied to them, where they are in the process, and apply more. We can also come over here into performance. Within performance, this is where we can see this group's website activity unique to that group. Okay, so for instance, let's say we added these 9 people to a recruiting tab and 2 of them went to the website yesterday. We would see those as little blips in here. I might actually be able to find a segment with some website activity here, one that has some more leads in it would be more likely. But this is something that you're not going to be able to get with our other lead organization tools. And if I scroll down here, I can see which leads did what on which days, see the exact properties that they were on, etc. So it allows me to then interact with them, but keep it as a group, keep it as a segment. So that's number one. If we come back in here to our people tab, our second one is right here across this middle section, which is views. Views, think of them as like constantly updating dashboards. If you're using other CRMs right now, like stacking filters on top of each other is a good example. Let's say that every day I log in, I want to see everybody who's been to my website in the past 3 days, right? I can go in here and type in last website visit. Say, yeah, filter down last website visit for me. Everybody who's visited within the past 3 days. Okay, then I can click create view and put it right up here across the top, organize it the way I want to organize it. That way, every day I'm getting that 3-day rolling view, right? A little bit different from segments, as you can see, which is like this is going to be a 3-day rolling view, constantly updating, moving people in and out without me having to do anything, right? Automatically using these filters. So views are a great way to just get that little mini dashboard views. Now, right here across the middle section, we've got our pipelines. I think everybody's a little bit familiar with pipelines, right? Pipelines are a great way to work people through a process where I can say, all right, you're a new lead. Now you're in attempting contact. Now you're in contacted working, and move people one step to the next. If I click on a contacted working pipeline, I'm going to get all 111 of those leads. Select all like this and come over here and send a mass email, send a mass text, interact with them as a group, and then move them forward into the next step, into the next step, into the next step, right? And pipelines are a great way to organize everybody because you can only be in one pipeline at once. That is like almost a unique identifier of that lead, what step of the process that they're in. So if we're looking at our segments, we're looking at our views, we're looking at our pipelines. The other one is our tags. This is kind of the hidden one, the one that stays over here in filters. A lot of people will use views to get tags somewhere more visible. Because of stuff like landing pages where you saw where we could add a tag that automatically applied to any lead that signed up that direction or from that form. We can come in here and say, hey, show me all tags, everybody with these tags, and then create a view and put it right up there at the top. That's one way. But filtering by tags is a common way for people using Lofty to get to a group. Get to a group that they might not always need to find, but sometimes they need to find. If I just throw a tag on them, that means I'm never going to lose them. They're always going to be there with that tag on there. I can always find them later if I need to, but I don't necessarily want it listed right there up at the front, ready to go. So tags is another quick way to organize leads. Now, we've talked about the way in which we identify leads and make sure they're coming in correctly using that lead source through our lead capture. We can customize our lead source. It's multiple different avenues to make sure they're coming into the system. Then we've also got like our lead generation tools where we can add tags, we can add different sources, rename different sources, but we're always going to want to make sure we have a unique identifier for a certain type of lead. Now we've talked about the ways in which we can organize those leads with segments, with views that use tags or other filters, and then with our pipelines. So how are we going to automatically make sure that the people coming from this section or this section get to the correct pipelines, the correct segments? Well, we can do that manually by filtering, right? For instance, if I come in here and I filter by tag, and I say, all right, everybody with the tag of, 12 months out, let's go ahead and select all and come over here to more and click change segments. Now we can come in here and say, yeah, you know what? Go ahead and add all these people to the local client segment. Click yes, save, and they'll update and be put in there. That's one way where we can always just go in manually and move people around. If we click on a lead, we can have the manual ability to move them from different segments and different pipelines right up here at the top, where I can say, hey, instead of this pipeline, I want them there. Instead of this segment, I want to add them to this one, remove that one. You notice how we can have multiple pipelines, or you can have one pipeline, but multiple segments. We can also come down here to this section. Oh, and missed it. There we go. This is where we can find our tags. This is where we throw it on a new tag. We can even create a new tag directly from the lead. Oh, and there we go. We can also see exactly what their source was. We can see Chime website 1111 was their source. All these lead details are here, and we can come in here and edit any of those as well. But tags, pipelines, segments, we can manually move from inside the lead or mass assign from this lead section within the people tab. All right. Now we can also automate putting them in these different pipeline segments views, or automate applying tags through our smart plans section. Smart plans encapsulates all of our drip campaigns and all of our internal automations. So if we come in here to smart plans, we click add new. I'm going to show you sort of the anatomy of a smart plan and what options we have. Within our smart plans, we have triggers and actions. It's like how it sounds. Triggers are going to be the if this, actions are going to be the then that. Okay. So if we can come in here and say triggers and actions, trigger is the, if this is, then actions are the then that's. A trigger could be something like tag changed. If we come in here to tag changed and we say that somebody has a tag of, and then we can use the one from our landing page, for instance. But let's just throw on one like website, right? Lender website's a good one potentially. Anything that you can think of, any tag that you're using can be added here. We click save. Well, we say, all right, anybody that comes in with that tag, we can go ahead and come over here and say, hey, I want to automatically change their pipeline to warm, nurture, hot, right? If I come in here and say, hey, I want everybody who has that tag moved into the hot pipeline, what does that mean? I'm automatically organizing my leads. I'm automatically getting them to the right spots. So this is a way in which you can really take the burden off of you to make sure everybody's getting to the right spot, right? It's super helpful. If we come in here to change segment, we can do the same thing with those. We can automatically add people to specific segments, automatically remove them even from other segments. So our smart plans are a great way to make sure that the right people are getting to the right spots. Now, with our lead management flows, these don't have to be just whenever the lead first comes into the system. They can be whenever the lead's interacting with you, whenever the lead is interacting with the website. So for instance, let's say that whenever a warm lead emails me, I want them moved to hot. If they're warm and they've emailed me, they should be in the hot lead section. Well, in the past, I've gone in and been like, yeah, let's go ahead and move this one to hot and then manually move it over, which isn't bad. And we have the options for in Lofty, of course. But you can also automate that. You can say, hey, trigger should be communication via email. If an email is received from the lead and they're in the warm pipeline, save. Then we can come over here to actions and say, let's go ahead and change the pipeline to hot. And we can save this. That way, anybody who's in the warm pipeline who emails me automatically gets moved. There's tons of other available triggers. There's also ORs. So for instance, let's say that a person has the lead is created with a source of Avena website. That would be one reason why they should be moved to the warm pipeline. Or we can come over here and add another one and say, or they came in with a tag of one last push. Now we have multiple different scenarios where this smart plan will kick into action, and then it can organize our leads into different pipelines and different segments. One thing I haven't touched on is it can also change tags. It can automatically add or remove tags, which we can automatically add or remove them from a view, from a filter, right? So with these smart plans, not only are we able to apply drip campaigns, and that's what largely they're used for, but this is also where we can say these specific people, if they do this, if they do that, if I do this to them, if they do that, then I want to organize them. I want to put them in these different spots. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and take a quick pause here. We're about 20 minutes in, and we're about a third through. I wanted to see if there's any questions that we want to go ahead and address. Wilson, is there anything in the chat
Yeah.
we want to talk through?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I appreciate Katie Vanessa's in the chat. She's been responding to some of the people in the chat or agents in the chat asking questions, but I just feel like it may be good just verbally to bring some of these to the table too. So Roxana asked initially, what's the difference between segments and tagging?
Yeah, definitely. There's a couple differences. Segments, really think of it like the analogy of a a filing cabinet, right? Where what it would be like asking the difference between a folder, like a folder tag, and a completely different drawer, right? They're used to do the same thing. They're used to allow you to find the file that you want to find, but they're just a little bit different in the way they present it to you. Typically, segments are going to be used for big groups, stuff like past clients, sphere of influence, recruiting, but you can use them for whatever you want. If you want 30 drawers, let's get that for you, right? Or if you want to organize people into a bunch of drawers, we can do that. It doesn't really matter necessarily. However, if you want to use tags, it's a little bit more of a nuanced way to do it. You can sort of keep it more low key. You don't have your segment list necessarily being super full. But if we come over here, tags are really found and really used whenever we're filtering down our leads. And like I said before, using them for views is pretty common as well. So to answer the question, how are they different? They aren't different necessarily in function. They're just different in presentation. And tags are a little bit more versatile in some ways. They're really easy to add. Like, for instance, I can create a tag directly from an individual lead. If I go in here to Kelly and I'm like, you know what, she needs a dog lover tag, and we have it or we don't, I can just type in dog lover, assign it. And if we don't have one, I can just create that tag right from here. So they allow you to be a little bit more nimble, but overall, they don't have different functions.
Perfect. Thank you, John. One question Elijah was asking was, how do I customize a pipeline? I don't have pipeline settings button option. Please tell me we can customize. Katie responded and just said, we cannot customize the pipelines. We can speak to kind of what they are, I guess, within those kind of three major portions of lead pipeline management, what they can,
Yeah.
customize.
The main way that I see people whenever they're a standard user and they're not able to customize pipelines, the main thing that I see people do is use views. Views are really customizable within your individual account. It allows you to basically build across this middle section exactly what's meaningful to you, and that can include pipelines. So for instance, let's say that I want everybody who's in the hot pipeline that I've emailed or that I haven't emailed, right? Anybody in my hot pipeline who I haven't emailed, because that's something that I want up here across the top. I would just come in here. I would say, hey, I want to filter down. If I come in here, it actually is a little bit easier. So I've added this filter, which is hot pipeline. Now I can come in here and say last touch or last website visit or last reply. And I can filter down whatever I want. Let's say that they've emailed me. Now I've got those two filters stacked on top of each other, and I can create a view and say, pipeline, no reply, something like that, or hot pipeline, no reply. I can go ahead and create a view, put it right here across the top of my CRM. I can drag it around, organize it, all kinds of stuff, and make sure that I'm able to see exactly what I want to see. And like I said, that can include pipelines. So although you might not be able to organize or completely customize what each pipeline is called, you can stack pipelines as a filter to create your own views, and that allows you to really do whatever you want as far as organizing your initial setup whenever you first come in.
Beautiful. Thank you, John. One last question is Roxana says, are any of these tags AI generated? I think when you were showing some of the tag functionality.
Yeah, some of them are AI generated. For instance, if the AI assistant reaches out to somebody, there will automatically be a tag applied that's like AI assistant responded, AI assistant this, AI assistant that. That is mainly going to be through the AI sales assistant, either on your website or the one that is within our marketing tab that can or cannot be working on your leads. If you're really looking to dive deeply into the way that that works within everybody's account. If you come up here to the question mark, under our Learning Center, we do have a great AI video that talks about the way in which like smart plans and tags can be used to manage the AI interactions. It's going to be under this AI chatbot section right down here at the bottom, and that's within everybody's account. But really what you need to know there is whenever somebody goes to the website and interacts with the AI, or the AI sales assistant interacts with them via text, there will be a tag applied that allows you to identify who's being reached out to by the AI, if they've interacted or if they haven't. So those tags do exist and they are automatically applied. Really, the deep dive on that would be right here in this AI chatbot section. For most intents and purposes, the way that it plays into people's lead organization is filtering down by tags and then using this and searching in AI, right? Oh, there we go. AI assistant has agent, AI assistant interested, just looking, no reply. The AI is going to label them in those ways. Was that the last question, or do we have any more?
Yeah, I think so. One question I did want to address from the YouTube side, actually from Denise. Denise, I don't have just the way I'm set up in YouTube to directly type a message in response. So if you could drop into the YouTube side, maybe your email, what I can do is send over. We have like a PDF that'll show. Her question was basically, she says, I have my own Lofty, and I know there's some things I can do that that a brokerage account can't. Can you please explain the differences? So to not get into like all that, I can ultimately send over something visual, like a flyer for you. Denise, if you want to drop your email in the YouTube chat where you put your question, I can send that over to you directly. So.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds good. We'll keep on rocking and rolling, guys. The next thing we want to talk about is really how we're going to reach out to people. What are the like outreach options once we get into our organization, right? The way that we organize them. So we can come up here and we can say, all right, show me all 45 of my warm leads, right? Now from here, some people will go in, they'll click on each individual lead, they'll sort them by different ways. Like for instance, I can sort these by registration date and see them top to bottom and go through them manually like that. But what I usually recommend is selecting them as a group. If we've got our organizational systems down where our smart plans are automatically putting people in the right spots, or as people are coming in, we're putting them in the right spots manually, then what that means is I should be able to come in here and select everybody within my warm pipeline and start reaching out to them. I can come up here and click mass email. As soon as I click mass email, allows me to send out email communication to everybody within the warm pipeline. Now we've got lots of different options for our mass emails right here across the middle to make them seem personalized. For instance, variables, right? I can say hello, and then come in here and say variable lead name. And whenever I preview it, it'll show me an example. Hello, Tim Floor. Hello, Kathy DL. Hello, Kathy Bailey, super awesome test account. Hello, no name. Hello, and I can go through each of those, right? And this is a demo account, so we've got some silly ones in there. But I could say, hello, that person. I also have lots of other variable options that allow me to build out really cool mass emails. Stuff like family member first name. So, hey, I know that you and so are looking for a new house in this area, right? If I have the family member in there, it'll fill in that family member. Now, stuff like that, right, makes it so that we probably want to organize people. If we're sending out a mass email that includes that variable, probably want to have a tag where it says husband and wife. Then we can sort by that tag and send out an email that includes the family member first name, right? If multiple family members are connected to the lead, all of their first names will be displayed and separated with a comma. We've got that little I there just so your information. We also have agent variables. These are going to be related to you. So your first name, your photo, your assigned admin first name, assign this, assign that. These are all going to be based off of agent roles. But that's a really cool way to throw in, for instance, your phone number, your meeting link. If I come in here to my listing variables, these are really cool. This allows you to say, all right, hey, I know that you were looking at and then latest saved listing address, right? This is another reason why we want to organize our leads. We can organize our leads by people who have saved a listing. We can go in there to our smart plan, say everybody that saves a listing, put them in the saved a listing segment, then go into our save the listing segment, send out a mass email and say, hey, I noticed that you saved, and then use this variable, send it out to everybody. Requested showing listing address, latest left message listing address, transaction variables if they're in the middle of a transaction, and then we've got our general variables that are time of day of the week, month, or season. That allows us to get more personal with our mass emails. Also, we have these options right here across the middle. These include inserting specific listings or listings that have been viewed by the lead. This specific listings is really common. So for instance, let's say that I just got a new listing that I'm selling, right? Or something to that effect. Or I just want to advertise the listing. If I have my warm leads or my leads that I know are in this certain area, I can say, hey, I want to send out a mass email and insert a specific listing. Go into my MLS feed and pull that listing. There we go. Here's one in Arlington, Kentucky for $0. We click insert and there we go. It's going to insert right here with a link to your website that then is going to require them to register or require them to put in their information. Then you're going to see who visited, who didn't visit. But using that insert listing allows you to send out some information about any listing that you want to. Of course, we also have these other options which are great, which are going to be related to this leads activity. Then we also have tons of other integrations. Zoom, YouTube, BombBomb. You can attach links, attach other files. You can use any of these formatting tools, anything like that, okay? So after we selected everybody within a pipeline, within a segment, within a view, by clicking over here on this arrow and selecting all, then that mass email section is what we're just going through. Now, something else that to keep in mind is templates, email templates. We can save this email as a template for later, which is a great new feature we just added, or we can use individual email templates from our settings, okay? If you find yourself using the same email templates over and over again, right, in different ways, or same types of emails, I mean, create templates. While you're writing up the email, say, yeah, I probably use this email again, save it as a template. It's then going to show up within this list and allows you to then jump in and send it out in mass, already pre-built for you. What you'll notice is a lot of these have cool imagery. They've got different logos, etc., different holidays. You can also just write them up like this, where they've just got, text, etc. If we want to go in here and create one of those email templates, we can do so from settings, down here in email, and then email templates. Okay, we can create templates. We can also use our design center to create those sort of cards that you were seeing with images. If we go in here to marketing, go down here to design center, we can create a new design using just our own images, copy and paste, put some in there. We can also use any of the Lofty templates, or we can upload full designs into the system if you're already using Canva or something like that. But regardless, again, we're talking about organizing our leads, getting them to the right sections, to the right identifiers, to the right pipeline segments, views. Once they're there, then we want to reach out to them. In that outreach, we can use email templates that use the design center or use variable tags to make them really quality outreach, or make them a higher quality of outreach is what I mean. So that's one thing. If we come back over here into our people tab, and we then get over here to our warm leads or whatever filters we want to use, and then we click select all. We also have mass text. In the same way that we can mass text, or same way that we can mass email, we can also mass text. Now, something to be aware of is with our mass texting, we want to make sure that this account doesn't have a functional texting campaign, so we're not going to see as many options. But we want to make sure to be aware of is our character limit. Okay, so with each text in Lofty, those are each going to be 160 characters. As soon as I get to 161 characters, something like that, then that's going to count as 2 text messages. And if I'm sending out a mass text, that's something to be aware of, is that, hey, whenever I'm sending out a mass text, I want to make sure that I'm keen on my character count to make sure that I'm not like, really diminishing my monthly text messages just in one shot, right? But the mass text is also a great way to send out information. We've got postcard options, letter options that you can explore in our marketing tab as well. Now in mass, we can also come down here and start smart plans. Now we have a whole smart plans webinar series, and I know that Wilson's also probably been doing those within these EXP specific webinars to talk you through smart plans, because they are such an in-depth feature, such a cool feature, one of our hallmark features for sure. But within selecting all of these, we can come in there and add a smart plan. We're going to see here our company smart plans, our office smart plans, and our individual plans. We can select one of those and click start, and it's going to apply it to our whole pipeline, to our whole segment, to our whole view. And that way we can make sure everybody's getting those automatic follow-ups. Now those can include emails, text messages, tasks, etc. Okay, and that's going to be the next place we go, is creating tasks for a group. So let's say that I want to make sure to call everybody who's a hot lead over the next few weeks or something like that. I've got a few hot leads. I want to apply tasks to make sure to email them or do just reminders about a specific group. Now, the best way to do that is to use smart plans to apply those reminders, apply those tasks within Lofty. We can come in here to our smart plan section, click add new, create a standard plan, and create some actions. Those actions typically for tasks are call tasks, right? We can send out emails and text messages for you. We can't call and have a conversation for you the way that you're going to have a conversation. So a lot of times people are like, hey, whenever I want to call leads, I probably just want to have a reminder to myself to call that lead. So our task will be call. This is going to create a call task. I'm going to come in here and click remind assignee, and I want to be reminded by SMS as soon as the task is created, and I want to assign it to the agent on the lead, which is likely me. Now I can come over here into my triggers, and I can set up an automatic trigger so it automatically creates one for me, or I can just leave that trigger section blank and manually apply it whenever I want. So I'm going to call this call task plan. I'm going to make it a my plan. I'm going to say that it's going to be used for buyers, and I'm going to click save. Now that automatically creates a call task for me to call that person. Now if I come in here, and I can create multiple different follow-up tasks that include automatic emails, etc., or just remind me to call them later on in the week as well. If I come over here into actions, I can add another step, say wait one day, and then remind me to call them again. Wait one day, then remind me to call them again. Wait one day, and then remind me to call me again, right? Until I get on the phone with them. Now, how do I know that I'm going to stop getting these once I do get a hold of them? If I come over here into my settings tab, I can turn on my auto pause over here on the left-hand side, my auto pause. Once I turn on auto pause, I can say, hey, whenever the outbound call is logged as talked, then I want to stop creating additional actions every day to make sure to get a hold of them. All right, I'll click save on this. Oh, I forgot I created a automatic email as one of the steps. There we go. All right, so how would this manifest itself? So let's say I come in here to my leads and I'm going into whatever organizational system I'm using, pipeline, segments, views, and okay, I find my people that I want to make sure to call, right? And I'm like, okay, I really need to get a hold of within my hot pipeline. It's really going to be Michelle and Ken and Wentworth and Steven. These are the people. I can come up here and click more and click add smart plan right here. And under my smart plans, I'm going to see my call reminders, call task plan. As soon as I assign this call task plan, it's going to automatically create tasks for me to make those calls. Those tasks are going to show up on my integrated email, okay, or on my integrated calendar if I have that set up. They're also going to show up in my tasks section over here. So as soon as I come in here, right, I'm going to see my call tasks that have been finished, the call one tasks that have been scheduled or that are overdue. This is a great way to make sure that you're staying on top of your leads, that you are and doing what you need to do to stay in touch with them, and really just you can apply a task to anything. It can be, hey, I need to make sure to send them this document. Hey, I need to make sure to give them a call. Hey, I need to make sure to blank, right? Using this task field allows you to do that, allows you to really like have a fully integrated Lofty account with your calendar, with your daily tasks that you're probably currently using somewhere else. We can filter our tasks. We can filter by scheduled for a specific amount of time, the ones that are overdue. We can also come in here to our tasks and filter by task origin. Any tasks that I've added manually or have come from a smart plan like we just created, I can show just those at one time. I can also create a new task or create a new appointment directly from here. Now, the main ways that I see people create tasks is the way that we just did it through that smart plan. Another way, that the alternative way, is to come into an individual lead. Like for instance, I'm talking to Michelle F here. Talking to Michelle F. I can come down here to my right-hand side and say, oh, okay, here's my task. Call within 5 minutes if you can. All right, I did that. I'm going to click that, say completed, say completed, say completed. Well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and create another task. Just come up here and press this plus button. Say I want it to be an email task, a call task, or other task. I can set up the reminder date or the date that it's due. I can say I want it done at a specific time, and I can say I want a reminder 5 minutes before it's due, 15 minutes before it's due, an hour, or all of them, and click save. Now I'm going to be getting text messages from Lofty. It's going to be on my calendar. It'll be on my dashboard, so it's not going to slip through the cracks. All right, guys, to summarize what we've talked about so far, whenever a new lead comes into the system from any lead capture source, we want to make sure that it has the right identifiers. It has the right tags. We know what source it's coming from so that we can then put it in the right organizational system. We can put it in the right segment, make sure it's showing up in the right view, make sure it's getting the right tag, make sure it's in the right pipeline. Okay, we can do that by either manually filtering down by those unique identifiers, or we can do it automatically through our smart plans, where then we have our triggers and actions put people in the right spots. Our triggers are going to be listed out here. Our actions are going to be listed out here, right? Once they're in those correct spots, then it's going to make it really easy for us to send out outreach. We can personalize that outreach, or we can make it more general, whatever we want. But most importantly, now that we have them in the correct correct sections of our CRM, we can get to them easy and send out that correspondence easily. Once I get to the people that I want, I can just select all over here on this left-hand side. I've got options to mass email, mass text, both which include variables and templates that make it really easy. Now I can also come over here to more and create new smart plans. Those smart plans can include automatic outreach like automated emails, automated text messages. They can also include tasks. Those tasks are then going to show up on my calendar. They're going to show up on my dashboard, and I can get reminders about those tasks texted to me. Okay. I can also come in here and apply a smart plan that is a drip campaign that continues to follow up with them moving forward. Now, if I go in here and click on an individual lead, I can change the pipeline, add or remove a segment up here at the top, see what tags and sources apply to this lead. I can also come over here to my smart plan section, see which smart plan they're a part of, and I can create or remove tasks, or create or complete tasks down here at the bottom right-hand side. That's a quick overview of our lead management. I do have a couple other avenues to go down for some top tips and tricks, but I'll go ahead and open it back up for questions now that we're about at the 45-minute mark to see what else you guys are interested in. Wilson, do we have any questions?
Thank you, John. Looks like one came in, and this may be a little bit off a topic, but and we don't have to get necessarily into the weeds on it if you want to touch on this. But I had a comment from a member of or someone in YouTube asking, I'm mostly here to see what Lofty provides for IDX website search for agents who work with multiple MLSs and cities. Please address so I can decide on a CRM. Thanks.
Yeah, can you repeat the middle portion of that question?
Yeah, so it sounds like want to see what Lofty provides for IDX website search for agents who work with multiple MLSs and cities.
Okay, so yeah, we can definitely address that. Whenever we set up different searches for people who have multiple different MLSs, we've got a few different options within our websites. And this would be if you upgrade to a full IDX website that will allow full customization ability, etc. You can build out individual blocks onto your website. So let's say we add a block here and put in some listings. This would be like a short block. We can also have a full page that's just about listings. It doesn't matter about what I'm about to show you. We can also customize the settings of this block or of this page, wherever we're displaying listings, to be a specific MLS. If I'm a part of multiple, I can just have one MLS showing. I can have just a certain area showing. I can have a certain whatever showing. I can fully customize what is displayed here. I'm going to come over here to our listing source and change it from all listings to use custom filter. And I can come down here and say, all right, MLSs, that's what I want to filter by. And say, all right, I only want to show the Lofty virtual MLS on this block. That means that nothing from the California regional is going to show, and I can do vice versa. I can also add in whatever other criteria I want. Property type, all of these are available. 3D tour, price change, square footage, year built, and that's going to prevent other listings that don't fit the criteria from displaying here. I can also use my preset filter to build out the same thing. This preset filter tool also allows me to draw specific polygons or radiuses, radii around individual points that then will do the same thing, only display listings within that area. Again, that goes for any listing block or any listing page. You can customize that and narrow it down to which MLSs you want to display. Then if I'm on a lead and I'm sending out a listing or creating a property alert, we have a lot of the same customization abilities. So if I go in here to engagement and I create a new property alert, if this is also what you're talking about, where you're like, hey, what features do we have for the IDX searches with multiple MLSs? Whenever you go in here and build a new property alert for a given lead, you're going to have all of these different options, including MLS, to then narrow down exactly what kind of listings you want to send a lead as well. So we have tons of customization ability. If you have multiple MLSs, if you have one, those are available with the full IDX website for any block or any page that you've got listings on. And then regardless of whether you have one of those or not, whenever you're creating a property search or any sort of sending out any sort of listing, you also have all of those customization abilities available. I'm not sure if that answered her question or not. Were there any follow-ups on that?
I didn't see any other questions from that particular person on YouTube. I appreciate it. I think you went into some detail around the MLSs and connecting multiple and being in multiple areas. So thank you, John. Yeah, looks like maybe a couple more questions are going to maybe rolling through EXP World chat, but as of right now, one thing that Ashley asked was about recordings. Looks like Katie already responded to her, but yeah, anybody wondering about a recording of any of this session today or any other sessions, they will be on YouTube, the EXP YouTube page. I believe they may be accessible elsewhere as well via EXP World, but for sure on YouTube. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. If we're waiting on a couple other questions to roll in, we do have about another 10 minutes left, and that's really the end of my agenda as far as like the basics, right? Making sure that you're aware of each and every part of making sure leads are coming in, making sure you're organizing them correctly, manually or automatically, and then all of the different outreach that you can apply. That's just the general agenda. Now, as far as tips and tricks that I would apply, if I was starting up with Lofty, Lofty's got some really cool tools for making sure that we're organizing people correctly. And Smart Plans, because it also includes our drip campaigns, we can go ahead and kick things off all in one spot. So if I come in here to my Smart Plans, I can say, all right, whenever a new lead comes in, let's say that I make my trigger, a lead is created with a source of Avena website. This would be anybody that comes into the platform with the source of Avena website. Now, you could do this for any type of lead that you're looking to manage. A lead that comes in from realtor.com, comes in from this, comes in from that. I can say, all right, if they come in with the source of Avena website, okay? And I can say, or they come in and I tag them with the Avena website tag, right? Something like that. You can set up any ands and ors that you would like to make sure that you're hitting every type of lead that you want this to apply to, right? I can also come in here and add some ands to this, add some conditions, and really build out exactly what I want for the triggers. Tons of options. Go up here and click on auto apply. That means that any lead that meets these, it's going to automatically be, get what we're going to put in here into actions. Now, what we've been talking about is organization. So coming in here and saying, all right, I want to, as soon as they come in, they meet any of those criteria, I want to put them in my hot pipeline, right? Say that I also want to put them into my segment of recruiting, whatever segment it might be, right? I've got those 2 steps. That's one way to just make sure they're getting to the right spots. And then I can go in and manually apply my smart plans, manually send out mass emails, postcards, text messages, whatever I want. I can also now string together other tasks within the same plan. If I know exactly what kind of outreach I want these people to get, I can build it out all in one place. Say, all right, now I want another step. I want this step to also happen immediately, and I want them to get an auto email. Now I can say, all right, use the auto email that I built in this template right up here, and boom, that step's done. Now I want to add another step, and I want them to get an email 3 days later that has now this information. Now remember, we can use any of these variables to send out any detailed information we want, like for instance, a specific listing. And that can be a part of our smart plan. So we can come in here, throw in our Arlington, Kentucky listing, send that out. Then at our next step, we can also use our call task, right? And say, all right, now I want to call them after 3 days to follow up with them. I can specify the time, have it be at 9:30. I want to remind the assignee, which is me, whenever the task is created by SMS text message. Now look what I've built. Somebody comes in with this unique identifier, a specific source, a specific tag, whatever it might be. I'm auto applying this trigger to then allow them to get to the right spots, right pipeline, right segment, get the right emails, multiple. Then I remind myself to call them, right? This is a whole lead flow, a whole funnel that's really super easy to build and really easy to apply. Did we have some questions in there, Wilson?
Yeah, it looks like a few just rolled in. Roxana says, so does it integrate from your phone messaging and emails? Does it track all conversations you had with some person?
Yeah, so through email it does. What you'd want to do is come in here to your settings. Under integrations, you can integrate whatever email you're currently using, and all of those would, but to her point, come in. If I'm using the Gmail app and my Gmail is integrated, those will automatically log super easy. Now with texting, that's not the case. It's going to go out through the texting number that is built into your Lofty account, right? So any automatic text messages, anything like that will go out through Lofty. Now, if I send a text through my personal cell phone number, I can always just go into an individual lead and log a text. What it means to log a text is I just go into the lead in the middle section where I can also leave notes. I can come in here and hit this drop down and say, yeah, I want to log a text. And this will show up just like I sent a text within the system. So for instance, if I have a smart plan triggering off of sending a text, this log text will trigger that. But it just tells me that I have texted them, right? But if I am using my normal cell phone number to text people, I would need to go in here and log it. And any text message that's sent out through Lofty would go out through a Lofty number. You can also send text messages through your Lofty app, right? That way, instead of sending a text message from your normal just text messaging app on your phone, you can just download the Lofty app, go to that lead and send a text message all the same. And that way it will log in the system.
Right on. Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Camille said, are you able to create simple lead capture pages with this system?
Yeah, definitely. So simple lead capture pages would probably land in our landing pages. Whenever I come in here to my landing pages, I've got lots of different options that no matter what account you get with us, you'll have access to. Those include a feature listing page that's going to present the listing. And then once they click on it, they're going to then be prompted to be captured to put in their name and their email address. We also have other options like why choose us page, a guide download page, host a live tour, meetings with leads, live tours, why join us, your career journey. Like we've got all these templates for you to use for those landing pages. Also, if you choose to upgrade your website from a subdomain to a full agent website, then you can build out whatever pages you want, which can include really simple lead capture pages. Those can look as simple as just like, hey, go ahead and register here, give me your information, right? And the way that you would do that is you'd go into your editor, you click add a new page down here at the bottom left. So if we restore changes, go down here to the bottom right hand actually, and we can create a blank page and then add in whatever we want and then share that page with the social post, with the QR code, with an email, and it can be whatever we want it to be. The last thing I'll say there is we also do have features like our open house forms, where you can create a open house form that whenever you're hosting one, people scan a QR code, and it's a really simple way to gather people's information as well. That's the other thing that would come to mind.
Beautiful. Thank you, John. Hazel just said, does Lofty have content available that we can we can set up automated posting to social media?
So within our social studio, if we create a post, everybody does have access to our AI marketer. Our AI marketer is basically a bot that then will create these social posts for you. It learns based off of what gets engagement on these different social media platforms. So it's going to be really helpful in writing cool social posts. You can describe whatever content and it'll write it up for you, give you multiple options. Everybody has access to 3 posts per day written by the AI marketer. If you need more than 3 posts per day, then you can always upgrade to a higher level, but a lot of people, that's plenty, right? So for social posts, we don't have necessarily a bank of things for you to just post from, but our AI marketer can write you up whatever you want, and then you can use that to post to all of your social channels all at once that you have integrated.
Awesome. Thank you, John. I'm just going to see if there's anything else that rolled in here. Roxana just asked about newsletters. I'm assuming she's just wondering if they have that capability.
Yeah, definitely. There's a couple different ways that we can do our newsletters. We can build that out through our smart plans. That would be if you're smart, or if you basically like have your newsletters and you're just going in and updating them. You can basically say, yeah, I want to have a newsletter go out on this day, then 30 days later, then 30 days later, then 30 days later, right? That's a really easy way to do it. The problem with that is if I set that up and I forget to update one of my newly coming up newsletters, and I don't add in that personalized content, then that email is going to go out anyway. Another way people will do it is they'll create email templates for their individual newsletters, and then just go in and mass email them to everybody they want the newsletter to go out to. So that would be in our settings. And then our email templates, you can just build out whatever newsletter you want. You can also use our design center to make it nice and pretty and then put it in a template and then use newsletters that way. And then lastly, goodness, now I was blanking on our last option there. Those are the main 2 options for our newsletters that I see people use, is those email templates and those smart plans. And if my last point comes back to me, I'll jump in with it.
Sounds good. Thank you, John. Probably just have time for maybe another question. Looks like one that came over from YouTube is rendering. There's no way to use the second number we have for real estate and let that be the number that they use. I'm thinking that's a virtual number question.
Yeah. So if you have a virtual number in a different system, we do offer a process called phone number porting. If you're interested in that, we do have a Help Center article that gives you all the details. And Wilson, potentially we could get that sent out to them. But if you do have a virtual number like that you're currently using, specifically if it's through a company called Twilio, which is like a number vendor that a lot of providers like Lofty uses, we can port that number into your Lofty account for you to be able to use. So if you're currently using a virtual number, there is that option. It takes a while and it can be a little bit complicated. Just to have that disclaimer, it's not just plug and play. We have to go through signing a couple of documents, etc. But it is possible, and a lot of people do go through that process to have their virtual number that they're using somewhere else be within Lofty.
Perfect. I know it's been a common question from EXP agents that are getting into Lofty for the first time, but John, I think this is probably a pretty good place to stop. I do appreciate you joining me today. Thanks so much for getting to lead pipeline management and just other questions that we're rolling in through the chat. So thanks again. Appreciate all the EXP agents that have been on today, the engagement, interaction with questions. Katie, thank you so much for jumping in and answering some questions in the chat too. Do appreciate everybody, and we will be back with you this coming Monday or this next Monday.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot, John.
Thank you guys so much. Have a good one.
All righty. Bye-bye.